ironies of Knanaya associations when faith becomes control. What happens when faith and freedom meet at the crossroads of power and control? When the church's mission begins to merge with the state's authority, and the line between the sacred and the secular starts to fade away. Welcome to the story of the Knanaya community, a people proud of their pure lineage, now caught in the silent storm of identity, authority, and truth. The Knanaya associations, SKCA, KCCA, once born as symbols of unity, culture, and self-expression, are now witnessing a subtle yet decisive transformation. A transformation that raises one haunting question. Are these associations still of the people, or have they become instruments of control in the hands of a few? Let's journey into the ironies of Knanaya associations and the deeper message behind the words. Open quote, "Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's." Close quote. The irony unveiled. Once the Knanaya identity stood for purity of heritage, not superiority, but a symbol of continuity and belonging. But somewhere along the way, this belonging turned into belongingness, and belongingness, when guided by fear and pride, became a kutaima, a closed circle of conformity. The word kutaima, a Malayalam expression that roughly translates to a clique or exclusive inner circle, carries within it an irony. It promises unity, but breeds division. It preaches loyalty, but often silences truth. It gives the illusion of discipline, but chains the mind. In the modern Knanaya world, many lay organizations were formed to give voice to the community, not as churches, but as cultural and secular platforms. Their goal was not to preach sermons, but to preserve stories, traditions, and togetherness. But under the leadership of Archbishop Mar Mathew Moolakkattu, a new pattern is emerging, one where clergy influence begins to overshadow lay autonomy. Under the pretext of unity and mission, the secular organizations are being gradually drawn under the church's clerical umbrella. On the surface, this may appear noble, unity, order, and discipline. But beneath the surface lies a deeper concern. Open quote, "When a secular space becomes spiritual territory, who holds the voice of the people?" Close quote. Most office bearers and members are unaware of the distinction between church and state, between the spiritual and the civic. This confusion is being quietly used, not with malice, but with manipulation masked as mission. In the name of prayer, in the language of blessing, the independence of the laity is slowly being absorbed into the clergy's agenda. The tragedy, the very associations meant to empower the community, are now becoming tools of clerical influence. The kutaima mindset, once social, now spiritualized, begins to justify anything done for unity. Yet unity without freedom is not faith. It is obedience without truth. And when fear replaces faith, the light of truth fades into shadow. The Syro-Malabar Church, a global symbol of Eastern Catholic heritage, is now facing an internal question larger than any administrative debate. Open quote, "Where does spiritual authority end and human freedom begin?" Close quote. The historical parallel. History has seen this pattern before. When kingdoms ruled, religion often walked hand in hand with power. When migrants became immigrants, they lost not just land, but inner grounding. The text reminds us, the immigrant mind has no love for the land he lives in. When we migrate to another place, idea, or ideology, we risk losing our roots. Likewise, when faith migrates into politics or religion migrates into worldly power, purity of purpose is lost. Just as colonial settlers displaced natives in Australia, spiritual authority, when extended beyond its sacred space, displaces the independence of the laity. The irony? Both claim to civilize, both believe they are doing good. But history teaches us, control, even when disguised as care, ends in conflict. Conclusion, a call to conscience. The Knanaya community stands today at a moral crossroads. It must choose between obedience and awareness, between control and conscience. The message is not to rebel, but to remember. To remember that faith belongs to the heart and governance to the people. The church is sacred when it serves, not when it rules. And the laity is faithful when it questions with humility, not when it follows with fear. Let every priest stay true to his altar and every layperson to his conscience. For the words of Christ echo even today. Open quote, "Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's." Close quote. May the Knanaya community rediscover its strength, not in separation, but in sincerity, not in exclusivity, but in truth, not in kotaima, a true fellowship of the faithful and the free.